the Canadian team, and so many names there you'll recognise when you see them running out. One of the more experienced sides, and they're taking on Brazil, who, as we know, will play all 6 of the women's leg because they get the automatic qualification being hosts in Brazil, and that will be great for them because they can really build momentum.
These two sides have met on 4 occasions. Canada have won 3. They did draw in Dubai here in 2013. And so, Mel, what do Brazil need to do? I mean, it's been a perfect build-up for Canada. They had 3 test matches, or 3 matches on the Gold Coast against Australia before winning the Central Coast Sevens. Obviously, the investment of making sure that the players are actually playing the game heading into this tournament. But what do Brazil need to do?
I personally believe that the developing nations, the ones that are newer to the game of rugby, shouldn't try and take on Canada, New Zealand, Australia, England at their own game, which is using the wide passes because they're still catching up. They should be smart about the game plan, maybe confrontational, maybe the short ball right through the middle of the field, you know, using the power play instead, and try and upset some of the teams too through really ferocious defence, because, you know, there's still a little bit of a gap between, say, the top 6 in this competition with the newer teams. So just being smart about what you put out there on the paddock.
Game number 5 here in Dubai has Canada against Brazil in Pool C. And Canada lead, as I say, the series at 3-1 draw here in 2013. A very good-looking Canadian side. There's plenty of experience, there's a lot of youth, there's enthusiasm. And John Tate has gone with his best starting 7 as well. Russell Marchuk and Keish make up the forwards. Moleski, Stacey and Laundry and Harvey. And there's plenty of class on the bench as well. Farella is their top point scorer, whereas for Brazil, their top point scorer is Zada in jersey number 3. Ishibashi is a very good captain wearing jersey number 5. And Hamalio in jersey number 10 was at the Rugby World Cup here in Dubai in 2009.
Yeah, that's a beautifully balanced Canadian team there. You'll have Marchak and Jennifer Kish doing the hard yards, attacking the breakdown, maybe looking for hitting the ball close, sort of more traditional roles. They've got some ball players out back too. And don't forget Magali Harvey. She was the IRB Player of the Year this season for the 15er side because she made such a big impact in the Rugby World Cup earlier in the year. So she'll be one to keep an eye on.
There are the hosts of the World, of the Olympics rather, in 2 years' time. Summer Olympics of 2016, and a lovely moment for Gabby Lee from Hong Kong. Tremendous servant and ambassador for rugby, both on and off the pitch. And for those of us lucky enough to have been around Hong Kong a number of occasions, it's great to see Gabby. She's been a big part of that tournament over a decade. Roca, the PE student from the SPAC club in Brazil, to get us underway. Brazil attacking right to left. Canada in their traditional red strip goes high, does Kish. Pulls the ball down and then shows a little bit of footwork as well. Stepping half the team, bringing the ball into the midfield. And now the quick release. The Canadians showing their skills right from the get-go, finding it close to the touchline, and now Laundry steps on the inside. Not rolling away, and so an opportunity. Landry was there, rather. Brazil with the turnover. Hamalio, lovely tackle coming in from Kesh. She's been active, has the Canadian captain wearing jersey number 7. Not afraid to get into the contact is Santos in jersey number 11 for Brazil. Scatrut. Hamalio again. Another tackle coming in from the Canadian captain. On this occasion, she hasn't rolled away.
Jen Kish, she's going to be in the engine room for the entire game for Canada. Just point out before, when they received the kickoff, she was lifted by one of her players. This is key for Canada in competing against some of the other teams who have such excellent high kicks and chases. So good to see that tactic out there already. They're going to be very competitive here at the Dubai Sevens.
Swarming defence from Brazil early in this game as well. A real feature. You saw when Landry went down that blindside flank that the Brazilians didn't commit too many players there. I appear to be patient and just wait to see what happened next. As Ishibashi, the 29-year-old, made her debut here a couple of years ago. Plenty of experience, having been here at the 2009 World Cup. The balk, and then they go high. Kish gets up and taps it back. So good work again. Harvey has it. Counter ruck coming in is illegal. He's here with the quick tap, and now they look to push it wide. Russell gets it on the outside. Molesky unloads, and then the lovely little pop pass on the inside, but brilliant tackle coming in. Then the offload. Here's the first try for Canada. All about support play, running beautiful angles. And 2.5 minutes gone, Canada are on the board.
Well, that was lovely to watch because everybody ran onto it with pace. The passes were accurate, and it was a great team try. Finished up there.
What a build-up the Canadians have had heading into this tournament.
Well, Brazil haven't been too bad off either. They went to LA and trained with the United States team for a week, so they've had a pretty good prep too.
Here is the restart, the deep kick where Ishibashi will reclaim the ball, and now she comes back, looks to try and get on the outside of Jennifer Kish, but the tackle is effective, and now they go a short yards there through Santos. Quickly recycled. Look at the speed off the line from Marchuk. Andy Marchuk just came racing up to close that space down. Ball finally gets released, and there's some players out to the right-hand side for the Brazilians if they look to go that way. Santos took it into contact, and that ball, she's on the ground, and eventually gets to her feet again, does Santos, to release it. No real space or opportunities, and they've held on to the ball, and Kish goes in, gets the penalty, and great defensive work here from Canada.
Yeah, well, for Brazil, they're taking into contact probably a little too much, and a lot of the time they've run into Marchuk or Kish, probably the two players they don't want to run into. Just like to see them keep it out of contact, play with it a little, let the ball do the work for them.
Oh, that's a brilliant touch finder from Canada. Harvey there, she just made sure that the ball went out 5 meters short, and it was actually Landry that scored the first try for Canada. She moves into the second receiver position now. Molesky, part of the Canadian Rugby World Cup team in 2013 from the Williams Lake club in British Columbia. Kish just had it, and then she brought it down and lost it forward, but somebody was offside.
Well, that looked like a set move. It looked like she was trying to get it down to Marchuk instead of going off the top and out wide, because there would have been a little bit of a hole there in between the first five in the line out from Brazil. So good tactic.
Yeah, it is. We've seen Brazil do the hard work, and at times when they should release it, because they've certainly got a numerical advantage on the outside, they've gone one too many of taking it into contact as well. That's probably the only criticism in the first 5.5 minutes of this game.
Well, they'll work out what pattern they want to use. They've got a good coach in Chris Neal from the Canterbury Rugby Union. He's also coached the Canterbury men's side as well. So it's just a matter of working themselves into their pattern.
Kish gets up and knocks it down. Marchuk says, I'll go forward. Yes, she always does. And possession here for the Canadians. The pass is out to Landry. She's on the outside of the chase. Got plenty of pace, Landry. Ball in two hands there. She puts on the accelerator. One to beat. Landry's in. Second try for the Flyer. She had a lot of work to do, and she showed a lot of class. I love the way she held the ball in two hands. Good
ball from Maleshi to Landry, but the thing about Landry is that she had the defence second guessing the whole time. There's the pass, nice and accurate. Once again, hitting it with pace. But look at this, she's just playing with them. She goes in, she goes out, and she ends up stepping on the inside to go over for the 5-pointer. Great work.
Not unfamiliar with this ground, having made her debut here in 2012 from the Toronto Scottish club side. Ghislaine Landry. She played it for Bath as well, so spent a little bit of time in the UK. and showing all the skills necessary for sevens. Ball in two hands, keeping the defence guessing. And that's a wonderful start for Canada. Ishibashi, the captain. How do they respond? Brazil, are they able to score their first try in the match? Certainly had their fair share of possession, taken into contact with Santos, and now they've got an overlap here. And they just kick it into touch and head to the break. 2 tries to Canada, Brazil yet to score, and after 7 minutes, the Canadians lead by 12-0.
I think Canada will want to step up the energy levels a little. Maybe they're conserving, who knows, it's a long tournament. At the end of the day, it's the sides that last the best that often have the advantage.
Tries, right? Because we expanded and passed, right? So we kick off this half right back to the game plan where we're going to start with. It goes down to that corner. We can't chase on switches. We stay in our lanes. Don't worry about the outside. Condense in. Get ready for the tackle and discipline, right? One time we blew the A roll. It's a penalty. It's the only way they're getting possession. So we break down the discipline, right? And then when we do turn it over, we can't look at the turnover point. It needs to move, right? Because they're playing really tight, which means we've got fresh legs standing on the outside, but we got to expand and move the ball to them right away. Okay? Let's go. 2 minutes hard.
Canada! Like 2 passes on those penalties. Just get it out.
He's been good for them, hasn't he, Mel? John Tate, the 40-year-old, 37 tests for Canada, 6'8". He stands, and they went through a real purple patch there in 2012, 2 years unbeaten in Amsterdam and Vegas. He's been the head coach since 2011, but just softly spoken.
He is certainly a good leader for them. I mean, what we see out there, how they play the game, it's really attractive sevens. They've all got good skills. It's obvious they do put the work into it. They all run from a centralised program, the Canadian squad. It's amazing to think they have not won one of these legs on the IRB Women's Series for the last 2 seasons.
Magali Harvey gets us underway for the second 7 minutes. 2 tries to 0. So both the messages from both coaches. Hamalio into contact, quickly released, and now the Brazilians look to try and find some space out on this right-hand flank. Still inside their 22. That's not a problem in sevens, provided you've got possession and you're holding on to it, as Skartrut did so well. Here's the captain for them, Ishibashi, but she's lost the ball forward. No real advantage, and so the defence from Canada is swarming and just racing up.
The intent from Brazil is different from the first half. They've listened to their coach. They want to move it away from the area of contact. The only problem with that was their passing wasn't quite accurate enough. That gave the Canadian defence the time to get up.
South American champions for 9 years consecutively are Brazil. They finished 9th on the Women's World Series. Quarterfinals last year here, where they lost to New Zealand by 40 points to 7. Made the plate semi and lost to Spain by 7 points to 5. 1,409 registered players in Brazil, but they've got something like 31,276 participants. So there's plenty of people playing the sport in Brazil. And Skartrut gets the ball and tries to get on the outside of Mileski. She's got the angle, but certainly closes down. She releases the ball and has all rights to get up and play it again. She's done it. Here goes the captain, Ishibashi. Too quick! Ishibashi's in, and finally Brazil get their first try in the 2015 season.
So Skartrut started it all with her out-and-out pace, out wide. Some brilliant running from her. Here she is. 2 defenders had to come in. She had the right attitude to get on her feet, give her player enough time to get there, and then Ishibashi over for the try on that short side where there was no defensive player. Sweeper just too late to get across.
Captain, fantastic pull-up, Ishibashi, her 7th try in her career. And the conversion unsuccessful, but that is just what the Brazilian doctor ordered. They needed to score first, and they've done that. 12-5, 4.5 to play.
In front of the winning now.
The all-important kickoff. Set piece in sevens is crucial. And they spend hours, tens of thousands of hours just working this out. And that's a lovely little kick as well, because it's gone the required 10 metres. Getting up is Harvey. She's holding on to the ball, trying to buy some time, taking in the tackle of Skartrup. Gets up and goes again, does Harvey, but now she finds her way in touch. And an infringement there means the Canadians have possession. Quickly tapped and pushed out to Kish. What a great pass. And they're still in possession, and that's the most important thing in sevens, is just hold on to it. Lovely ball shown in two hands. Aladi races away to score try number 3. She's got an accounting degree, and that's beautiful skills, Mel, especially the way that she showed it in two hands. The dummy, they all took it, and then she was gone.
Great heads-up play from Canada, because they knew that the Brazilian defence was basically stacked up on the other side, so they moved the ball quickly. And Ellery, nice little dummy, swerved on the inside, went straight through the hole. Good way to reply.
28-year-old. He started with the Canadian team in Guangzhou some 2 years ago. Has coached rugby, basketball and hockey at high school level. So good to see their enthusiasm still very much in the game as John Tate looks on. Would have been a little bit concerned with the way that the Brazilians had scored first, but that's a sign of a class act and a classy side when they can strike back straight away, as they have. Here's the try scorer for Brazil. Ishibashi running across the field, 2 dummy cuts, and then she throws the ball along the ground. She'll be disappointed with that.
The second cutter there should have ran their lines, stayed outside her. She should have straightened up and passed. Then they would have had a 3-on-2 situation there. Just experience and assessing the defence and where they're moving.
More changes from both sides. Zalery throws it in, Kish gets high, but it's not straight. We've seen a little bit of that today, and well, no real surprise. It is the first day, it is the first few games for a lot of these teams, and no doubt by day 2, those mistakes just won't occur.
Well, there's always pressure at line-out time. It's not as easy as it seems. Most of it's been crooked throws. Work on
Green Shield's also on the field for Canada, so they're rotating the players, they're getting everybody involved in day 1. Good counter ruck coming in from the Brazilian team. That's where pass has been intercepted here. And Canada now go on to the attack, 5 short. Kish gets in, she clears it out. This will be another try. And here's the hat trick for Landry. 2 in the first half, 1 in the second. And all from the mistake by the Brazilians inside their own 22.
Yeah, it was a mistake. It was also great pressure on D once again. And Jen Kish get in. Here's a mistake. Intercepted. Really great work. Kish gets in, moves the ball quickly from that ruck, and that gave Landry the opportunity in a bit of space. Another try for her. Wow, what a standout in this first match for Canada.
First to register a hat-trick here in Dubai for 2014-15 in the Women's 7 Series. And a couple of players who have got the double. Landry the first with the hat-trick, and now she's going to get some valuable time on the bench.
Yeah, lots of subs being used so far, especially by the more experienced teams. I know 2 days of sevens is hard work in the heat.
It's all about player welfare, isn't it? Making sure that you're giving your players enough time on the field. Also, more importantly, that you're keeping those combinations, because combinations win matches. She's so good as Jennifer Kish, totally committed, both on attack and defence. Ishibashi with a big wide pass, and now they've got some space out here to the Brazilians. They're with a chance, a little bit of footwork, stepping, getting on the inside, and then just breaking away. Now it comes down to the foot race. Futuro here on debut. What a moment for the young girl. Looks inside, gets the speed wobbles, but she's going to score. 28 years old. And she had a lot of work to do. That's class.
Well, they wanted to push it out wide, didn't they? In that pass from Ishibashi. Well done to her. Reacted. In the end, it got in the hands of this young lady, Futuro. And she just put the pedal on the gas. Went for it. It was great to see. And you can't say there's fatigue happening for Canada, because there are a lot of subs on, so they'll be very happy with that try.
Doesn't that just prove try and try and try again, making your debut at 28 years young. Too little, too late for Brazil, though. Canada have beaten the hosts of the Summer Olympics by 26 points to 10. So if you're just joining us, a very good afternoon from Dubai. You join us as we get to the final game of the first round of pool matches in the 2014 Women's Sevens World Series, and it is a very keenly anticipated game. Very interesting to see a clash of styles in this match, with England and Fiji looking to build on recent developments, shall we say. An historic game, of course, for England, their first professional game as a women's team. Fiji, well, they're resurgent, having taken the qualifying place in the core group, as it were, in the Hong Kong match in September. I'm Simon Ward, alongside me, Sue Day. Sue, there is going to be such a contrast in the way that these teams are going to perform, you suspect?
Yeah, you suspect so. Fiji have some big ball carriers in their team. England have picked a team that, were at a 15s game, would be full of backs. So they'll be looking to move the ball, you have to think. Fiji, with those big ball carriers, looking to really take them on. But really fascinating, because England, as you say, the first game as a professional side, so they've had a lot of time in camp together. Fiji, their first game as a core team in the Sevens series, and they put in some great results on one-off. occasions last season. So both teams will really fancy themselves here.
Well, as you saw from that head-to-head slide earlier on, both teams have had solitary success against each other. Both, coincidentally, were in Guangzhou in China last year. It was the Fijians who won 15-12, and the year before England triumphant 24-10. There's Leah Barrard from the USA, our referee for this game. And a lot riding on this game, although it's the first run out of both these teams. As our good friend Willie Losey said at the beginning of this is the pool of death, you suspect, with Canada already having won one game. And both teams will be looking to slip into gear very quickly, very early. Rachel Burford playing in the forwards, we think, in this game. Normally, of course, a centre in 15s. But England looking to keep ball handlers and carriers very fluid in the way that they move. There's Danielle Waterman losing the ball, though, in contact. And here's the Fijians' first chance to show what they're about in attack. Savu just biding her time and allowing Alice Richardson to come through very quickly. And the isolation there, Richardson quick to take it. Good handling from Natasha Hunt. Of course, one of the 5 England women that were wearing medals in Paris just a few months ago in the 15s Women's Rugby World Cup. Well, determination from Danielle Waterman, good leg drive. Providing the ball for Richardson. Jo Watmore back in the 7s ranks, and such a dangerous runner in broken play. And such a powerful handoff, gets the offload again. Captain Chamberlain gets the tackle and the ball at the same time, but very obvious offside on that occasion.
Very clear offside, wasn't it? And I think the referee's hand is going in her pocket. That was really clear attacking opportunity, very obviously offside. So an extra player for England for the next couple of minutes. The ball slowed down, so England taking their time to set up now, but you can see Jo Watmore one side of the pitch, Michaela Staniford on the other, waiting for this.
So Siata, the Fijian captain, sits out the next 2 minutes, but her team have got hold of the ball. A kick to release the pressure. Oh, just handling mistake from Michaela Staniford, I think, on that occasion. And has allowed Fiji to draw breath, because it's been a good starting 2 minutes from England.
Yeah, but a couple of errors there from England. England had a penalty in front of the post, 7-on-6, and Mo Hunt took it in and got a little bit isolated, knocked the ball on. Then Fiji kicked away, and it was great ball, really, handing the ball straight back to England, but knock on from Michaela Staniford. So, ball to Fiji.
And penalty to Fiji too. Rungitha, the Fijian scrum half, seeing her pack collapse under pressure there, and now looking to move the ball wide, expecting a big physical approach from these Fijians. They've been working hard on their stamina, hard on their fitness. Losing the ball and allowing England to try and get width again. Burford feeding out to Staniford, of course, a former winger in the 15s game.
Looked pretty high, that tackle on Michaela Staniford there, didn't it? Pretty high, but just low enough according to the referee. Brought the knock on, so another scrum for Fiji.
Former IRB Player of the Year a couple of years ago. Staniford working as prop, part-time in the way that England are playing in many ways, in certainly what we've seen in these early 3.5 minutes of this Simon Middleton-led England side, of course. Middleton been in post since the beginning of the year. Burford quick to get England's machine back into gear. Watmore looking for the cut. Waterman, though, going on the outside. And Danielle Waterman gets first try on the board for England.
Yeah, lovely work between Jo Watmore and Danielle Waterman. Jo Watmore was cutting the angle inside. She's such a dangerous runner that you could see the Fijian defence holding up. There she goes, Danielle Waterman. Jo Watmore, number 10, cutting inside. holds the Fijian defence just enough for Danielle Waterman to take the outside.
Well, I hesitate to call Waterman a veteran, but having made her England debut back in 2003 when a certain lady on my right-hand side, I think, was still playing, she is very, very important in the tempo that England play.
Yeah, Danielle Waterman's old enough to have played 5 years internationally with me, so she is the veteran of the side, much as she might hate to hear it, but she brings a lot of experience, she brings a lot of cool-headedness under pressure, and very, very often brings the first score in a game like this to let the pressure off.
And is very much the spark plug, let alone the metronome, to the way that England play.
Yeah, she's got great footwork, so she can make something out of nothing when you need it, and she's got good handling skills as well, so really hard for defence to keep on top of her.
Fiji restored back to 7 now with a couple of minutes left of this first half.
Interesting tactic from England. We've seen a lot of teams today putting the kickoffs just over the 10-metre line and really putting pressure on the catcher. England opting to kick long, maybe because they know they're playing a very, very big Fijian team, don't think they can compete quite so much on that kickoff reception.
Well, not the obvious ball carriers in the England side, and when you look at the Fijians, they're happy obviously to take the contact and use their natural athleticism and I mentioned fitness, but the strength that these girls have. But as you say, England looking to evade that wherever possible.
It certainly looks that way with the selection and the way that they've played so far, England.
Early substitution from the Fijians. Rafaluva wearing number 4, immediately coming on before the break. Normally we've seen the coaches changing their lineups after half-time, but looks like Iniesta Tanavula wanting to make adjustments ahead of that.
Referee wasn't happy with that, not straight, she says, so ball to Fiji.
Going to call it back for a scrum put in. There's Rongitha there. Well, a squint feed, according to referee Berard, and it's going to give England a chance of points, or more points, I should say, before half-time. Waterman and Richardson trying to work in position for Watmore. Good offload from Watmore, and now you could see Waterman just scanning the options out to the left, but Fijians working hard to nullify any passing options. Richardson now gets the space to feed to Abby Chamberlain. But there was a crossing there, was there? Yes, that's what the referee has picked up.
Yeah, Abby Chamberlain took the ball from Alice Richardson there, but tucked it under one arm straight away. Had she been able to, had she kept the ball in 2 hands, able to get the ball out to Michaela Staniford, who was just lurking on the wing with nobody guarding her.
And the captain, Siata, just wondering whether they want to get into the huddle at half-time and sort things out, or play to make something happen before the break. Final play of this first half. Final match of this first round of pool games. And Fiji looking to get something on the board. First real time they've been up into England territory. It has been all about the English, really, certainly in terms of possession in this first 7 minutes. Again, Siata waiting for the runners to go off. This time it's Radaluva. Watmore anticipating that, and Joe Watmore's away, and nobody will stop Joe Watmore. Foot to the floor, pedal to the metal, and it's Joe Watmore in for England's second try.
Yeah, it's usually the running skills we see from Joe Watmore, and it was a very good finish there, but there was a little bit of footballing skill there. Made the interception, managed to control the ball with her foot. This is a speculative pass. Joe Watmore gets her foot in, the ball, I'm sure quite purposely, bobbles up straight into her hands, and then it's a clear run in to the line.
Practice makes perfect, no doubt. Well, Joe Watmore says this is her favourite ground she's playing on, and you can see she's enjoyed that first half, and what could be a very important psychological score to finish the half. with the conversion going over as well, and it gives England a dominant position to go into the half-time break. It'll be interesting to hear what Simon Middleton has got to say to his charges, and as indeed it will be from Ilyesa Tanabula.
Stars off. Okay, a couple of things we've done really well. Game D, we've stayed high. All right, we've got good pressure and we've shown good discipline high as well. We're not fighting in on it, which is really important. On the occasions people do go in, make sure if you're on the outside, you have to go in as well. All right? So we've got to, if somebody fights it, you've got to get up. We've shown a lot of discipline on that. You've got extra stuff on that. Again, absolutely paramount. Keep the tempo high. Look, we're all suffering in the heat, okay? But they'll be suffering more because they've had to defend for about 6 out of 7 minutes. And so we need a little bit more composed on the ball. We need a little bit higher work rate on to give ourselves more options. We're being a little bit lazy off the ball. Because if we can attract them to the... What they're going to do, they'll honeypot more as they get more tired. Okay? Or they'll knock off and there'll be spaces. But we can exploit them if we work hard to get into them spaces. Discipline, absolutely key. Alright, they haven't got in it. We've had some real good stuff. It's not on, just leave it in defence. Hold your shades and keep communicating. Alright? It's a good app. These will not give up. Right? We've seen time and time again, they will finish strong. We talk about finishing as strong as we start. Right, that was our big thing this year. Every single game, finish as strong as you start. If you blow up, I'll get a sub off, no problem.
Well, Simon Middleton with a bit of a warning there to the 7 that are out there. Interesting call from Middleton, saying you've got to finish as strongly as you start, especially against Fiji.
Yeah, and as we've seen the matches so far, the benches are so strong across all these teams that you do need to keep your eye on the ball up to the last moment of the game. You can give it everything, you can leave it all out there because there's another player who can come on and do that job if you've got nothing left. That's what he's saying, give it everything.
Well, England plate winners here last year, finished 4th in the Women's Sevens World Series standings. They finished runners-up the year before. They will be hoping for better things this year as they start this second half. Fiji, of course, as I mentioned, won the series qualifier in Hong Kong to be one of the core teams this season, beating France with a last-minute try, and that really backs up what Simon Middleton was saying in that huddle there, that they will play right to the final whistle. And looking to get width onto the ball immediately, Savu. Just trying to tease the defenders out of position, but handling, just letting them down from Rongitha there.
Yeah, England with another long kick-off. They seem quite happy to give the ball to Fiji in the final third of the pitch, and that they can contain them with their defence. They didn't particularly press hard in defence, England. They shadowed Fiji across the pitch and waited for Fiji to make a mistake.
Well, I mentioned that the last time that Fiji actually played England was in the China leg last season when they won, but they also beat Russia on that occasion, got to the Cup semi-finals. That will have given them a lot of confidence to know what they're capable of. And now, of course, looking to step things up this season with all the ramifications of the Olympics and beyond. Waterman trying to stay strong in the tackle, getting the support from Richardson in the end. Stanford keeping the ball alive, but that's good defence from Fiji, almost suffocating the ball carrier there. Richardson takes quickly. Again, looking to get width on the ball quickly. Burford straightening things up. Fiji going to take possession. Now, what can they work from here? They've got 3-on-2, but the passing lacks the accuracy required.
Yeah, very poor there from Fiji. Not really under pressure. They just needed to get the ball into the hands, get it out wide, let their big players out wide have a run England as well will be a little bit disappointed. Fiji getting up hard in the midfield, but England, rather than standing a little bit deeper and getting those passes out wide, are allowing themselves to get put under pressure in the middle, and the ball's not getting out into the wide open spaces with players like Joe Watmore waiting there for it. So both teams at the moment, the handling not quite going to plan.
So changes made to the Fijian lineup as Natasha Hunt, or Mo Hunt as she's known to her mates, feeds in. Well, it's scrappy to say the least, and Fiji working hard to get that call.
Yeah, given the selections, that's not a particularly surprising outcome. England haven't picked a big forward pack. Fiji have picked a big team. You're always expecting them to overpower England at the breakdown and at the scrummage, and that's exactly what they did there.
Yeah, perhaps the only real ball carrier that England have got in their squad is Alex Matthews on the bench for this game.
Yeah, you can see her warming up on the sidelines now. Simon Middleton probably noticed that England getting a little bit overpowered there. She's warming up, not coming on just yet, so England have got to get through one more scrummage without her.
4 minutes left of this game, and plenty of switches of the tail, you suspect, in this particular story. Richardson with a cross kick, saw Watmore prepare for it. Watmore takes it cleanly. As I say that, she drops it, but it does go back. The support is there, the offload is there from Richardson. Watmore and Richardson working the 1-2 to good effect, but can England affect execution on this far side? The ball is whizzed out towards the left. Good work from Savu, just making them think twice, but nobody needs to think twice when Michaela Staniford has the ball in her hands, and Staniford is able to stride away over for a very significant score.
Yeah, we didn't see so much of that from Michaela Staniford last season. Great to see that sort of finish from her. Got the ball in her hands, just held up the defence. Here it comes. Ball comes out to him, just a little stutter there, holds the defender up, and then bang, she's off down the wing.
Well, the PE teacher will be happy with that. No doubt all her students will be as well. Wherever you're watching this from, very good afternoon from a very sunny Dubai. No surprise there, I guess. It is getting hotter and hotter here, and pleasant spectating conditions. It may impact on the players through the course of the day. Don't forget to join in with us on the rugby conversation that's going on at World Rugby Sevens. Hashtag Dubai Sevens gets you in on the chat. Make sure you let us know what you're thinking, and certainly now, having seen all the 12 teams run out on day one, we've got a fair idea now of where the form is working. Fiji being forced back into their own half and really unable to show much of their attacking game, to the extent that the ball has to be booted away by Savu. In fact, I beg your pardon, that was Rataluva who put boot to ball on that occasion. But the Fijians just having to draw breath now. They really have been under the cosh for the majority of this game, so.
Yeah, they've hardly had the ball, and when they have, they've just not had the organisation and the structure. They don't seem to have built much from last season. We haven't seen them be able to spin the ball into the open spaces because they've just not been organised enough, really, to get it there. But a knock straight from England there at the line out, so one more chance for Fiji.
This pool is really going to be very interesting to see how it pans out, because of course the last game of today will pit England up against Canada, a repeat of that Rugby World Cup final, of course, at the Stade Jean-Bouin, and that could be instrumental in seeing the seedings to go into day two. Right now, Fiji looking to get themselves into this game with Rungitha again losing the ball in contact. Watmore quick to pick up the scraps. And there is Alex Matthews off the bench to get some Dubai time. Richardson just holding onto the ball, biding her time before she releases. Wilson Hardy comes back for the rebound ball as it was. Natasha Hunt, a little show inside, and you can see why Hunt has played on the wing as well as scrum half, has that capacity to snipe, and sniping to great effect.
Yeah, lovely turn of pace, but Alice Richardson was absolutely integral to that try. She recycled, there she goes, and pops the ball back far enough. There was no player right with it, managed to pop the ball back far enough that England kept possession, and then Natasha Hunt gave her a little bit of space, and that footwork will get her over the line every time.
So England happy with their lot out of the blocks first up, adding the conversion for good measure to record a 26-0 victory over the Fijian ladies on their first outing, and we're through the first round of these pool games. Let's just take a look at the results from these opening encounters. And there we see the current champions with an emphatic win over China. One of the tightest games of the day so far saw the USA Eagles manage to outdo Russia. And then we look at the second pool, Pool B. Again, Australia starting the day with a very convincing win over the South African ladies. France similarly over Spain, maybe a little surprisingly in that one. And that's the next game that we're going to be going to. Canada with victory over Brazil, and as we've seen, England with that 26-0 victory over Fiji. So we're going to take about a 40-45 minute break, but join us again then, because it is probably the biggest game in Pool B. It's going to be Australia against France. So join us again in about 40-45 minutes.